What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Bloom Podcast. Today we have our guest, Jordan Lundell. This guy is a Minnesota Vikings photographer. He's a -2 handicap, a soon-to-be father, and most importantly, a massive, massive Star Wars fan. Welcome, Jordan. How are we doing,
guys?
Dude?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you, man. It's been crazy. I feel like I've known you for probably like 4 or 5 years via social media, but we met in person for the first time ever like a month ago.
Yeah, that's actually nuts because we've connected on social. I've seen your stuff and we've kind of stayed connected a little bit there, but
You've sent me projects too.
Yeah.
We've like co-produced a project together, but we didn't see each other because we came in at different times. I mean, it's crazy like how powerful that social media world is.
it really is. And it's funny because like when we met, I couldn't believe that was the first time we met in person because I felt like I had known you for the 3-4 years that we had connected on social. So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah, and then today you're meeting Devin for the first time ever too.
First time meeting you.
Absolutely.
I don't even know if I follow you on social media, but I will after this.
Heck yeah, I love it.
So
You
it's a good way.
guys got a sweet space here, cool setup. It's
Yeah.
awesome to see.
Thank you. Seems like that's a lot of people say that right away, right off the rip. So makes us feel good.
Well, it's a lot better than my little tiny office I have in my house, but
Yeah, I've gotten a tour too, I think, actually, when we were on some Zoom meetings back in the day.
Yep.
So a little background on you and I guess me, and kind of like we've had I feel like similar like paths into this world. We both worked at VSM Real Estate. We both went to St. Thomas. It's kind of interesting. Like it seems like we know a lot of maybe the same people and have gone through a lot of the same things, which has been kind of interesting. So tell me a little bit about, you were explaining earlier, like your VSM days, doing the podcast, doing stuff like that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I guess the best place to start is college. So I graduated with a finance degree, believe it or not. And I think something that's becoming more common these days is kind of the path that I took, where you graduate with one degree and then you end up doing nothing with it.
Yeah.
So I ended up going into finance for 3 months out of school and was fully licensed as a financial advisor and got pretty depressed. And I was like, I can't be doing this the rest of my life. And so one day, it was Masters Friday, 2019, the year Tiger won.
Okay.
And I was sitting at my desk at my financial advising job, watching Tiger. I was there for like 3 hours, hadn't even logged into my computer yet. And I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so
Oh my gosh.
I went to a doctor that day. I was like, hey, like I'm really depressed. Like
Yeah.
I need to, figure out what to do with that. He recommended therapy, obviously. But the big thing for me was like, I can't sit at that job for the rest of my life and be happy. And so I made a choice like right then and there to pursue video. Specifically, like I wanted to just make videos for myself. And the first company that took a chance on me was VSM Real Estate.
Yeah.
And
Same here.
I had nothing to my name, like no video work, no nothing. And Ryan Schroeder from VSM replied to my job application for their social media position. And they brought me on for like monthly work. And it was at that time the best thing that ever happened to me because I was able to, do video work, have something to my name, grow, and then eventually expand to where I was working with real estate clients outside of VSM, and then from there even to expand into other areas that I was interested in. So
what kind of content were you consuming at the time that inspired you to like do video? Like, was there anything cool that you're like watching? You're like, that's really cool. Like, I would like to make videos. Or have you always been interested in videos like growing up? And then like at that moment, you're like, oh, like I have a passion for creating, like.
Yeah, it's a great point because ever since I was younger, like I've always been creative. I've known that, but I just never thought I could make a career out of it. The big thing in my life, even up until I graduated college, was sports. Like all I was focused on was, football, sports, all that fun stuff. And so like when I was younger, I had a video camera. I would be the guy who would bring the GoPro on the buddies trips and make edits out of that. And then, when I started my financial job, I really got into Casey Neistat, Peter McKinnon, you know, those typical YouTube filmmakers that inspire so many people. And like that type of creativity was one of the big decision factors for me in like wanting to make the jump. It was like people like that. So
sure, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I feel like it's very similar to like all of our journeys too. Yeah, with that.
Definitely. Like
YouTube
you always start with some little action cam, a GoPro. Yeah. I started with a flip like way back in the day. But
yeah, I think like mine was like I brought a GoPro out to me and my buddies went out to like Wyoming and we went to like the Bighorn Mountains and like I just brought the little GoPro Hero 1. So that's how like long ago.
That thing was so trash.
And I was like, bring it, and then I edited this video and put it on Facebook, and people were like, "This is cool." I'm like, "All right,
yeah,
it's cool."
I love that. Yeah, did you guys ever get into like when Casey Neistat was big? Were you guys all in on those vlogs? Because I came into his vlog life like at the end of it, and I ended up binging from the absolute beginning. The first day he started vlogging, I made a playlist on YouTube of all of his vlogs.
Yeah.
And just watched every single one like every night, just binged them all. Like it was.
You're like the luckiest man alive, dude. Because I would wait for like a week and it wouldn't come out, and I'd be like, "Where is this vlog?" Like towards the, I definitely was like through and through, basically from probably like he was like a year in when I started watching him, and then I watched all the way to the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I watched him like kind of like you towards the end, which kind of like I don't know. I feel like he was the one person on YouTube who was making content like that at the time, and everyone was kind of digesting it. And then I feel like too, then everyone started to follow his model and stuff. And but yeah, it was super inspiring at the time to watch his vlogs and the way that he like was able to tell stories every day and like do things creatively. Like it's good to like think like that you could do that every day, or you have like the capacity to create something like that every day.
Yeah,
because he was doing like daily vlogs, right?
Yep. Okay. And it was like, I mean, it wasn't anything, obviously it's creative, but it was just how he edited and his style. Like he was just documenting his daily life.
I also, I think it's that, but I also think the story, like every vlog had a storyline, a mission, and an objective. And I remember watching his vlogs and I'm like, why? I was like, cause his cinematography was good, but it wasn't like over the top. And I watched like Jesse Wellens and his cinematography was like over the top, but he would put out like one video a month. Yeah. And I remember being like, why are Casey's so much better? Is it just a quantity? What is it? But now I look back and I really think it's a storyline, you know?
Yeah.
He would like start off with like a sign and he'd be like, my sunglasses broke. And then he would like go to like 5 sunglasses places, find the right sunglasses, spray paint them, scrape them. And there's a story there, you know? He had a problem and he like overcame it.
Exactly. He still talks like to this day about the 3-part act to a story is, you know, problem, solution, and then end.
Yeah.
Like there's every single video he makes still has that. And I think like that's a big inspiration to everyone because of that. It's just like every video he makes has a in-depth story that's inspiring. It's super cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think like YouTube is such an inspiration like hole for all like creators. Like if there's a creator who doesn't watch YouTube, I'm a little like little thrown off. And there are creators that like watch tons of like movies and stuff like that, but I've always been YouTube first.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting now. I feel like I'm in like a weird spot where like I'm creating more, but I'm consuming less. I don't know if you're like ever feel like that. Like I feel like I used to consume so much, and then now I'm like at a point where I'm not watching as much YouTube or like movies or stuff like that. Like I'll watch music videos time to time to get some inspiration, or like mainly it's just like Instagram, what other local people are doing too, like to support. So like I don't really consume a lot as much.
I kind of feel the same. I feel like I'm in kind of something similar like that too. I remember I used to watch like hundreds of color grading videos on end and like hundreds of like how to set up a interview shot or how to light something. And I don't want to say like I learned it all, but I feel like I know the basics now, where like I have enough, but I think you also have to like take that into account and be like, how can I push it more? How can I get better?
Yeah, I use that kind of balance as a good gauge of like where I'm at in my work, I guess. To be honest, at this point right now, I feel like I'm consuming more than I'm creating. And that's when I need to tell myself like, okay, do like a passion project or something that gets you creatively inspired to do more of those. So I just feel like that's a super good gauge for me. And it's something that I look back on often just to make sure like I'm staying kind of creatively motivated and continually like trying to grow in that sense.
sure.
So
And it's like partially too, because when you consume so much, I don't know, as a creative, you still want to tap into like your own creativity instead of like consuming and like maybe doing something that they did. But once you actually like sit down with yourself and you kind of, I don't know, when you have like ideas and stuff, I kind of have like an intuition where if I have ideas, I'm just going to act on it right away instead of like overthinking it. Cause those are like my own ideas and they might've been influenced by like my daily life stuff or things I'm doing. But as a creative, I feel like you need that. You need to have like your own kind of foundation for being creative too. So I think that's partially why I kind of don't consume anymore. It's because like I want my own original ideas to like kind of come into fruition a little bit.
Yeah.
you know?
that's a good place to be, I think. I
Yeah,
love that.
a client said to me yesterday, they're like, you know, a lot of this stuff is karaoke. Like you see something and you kind of replicate it. You see something and you kind of replicate it or try to make it your own little song and dance like thing. And I thought that was super true. And that kind of goes to your point of like, if you consume too much, you maybe end up like playing that karaoke game and like recreating a lot of things that you see. So kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So Jordan, when you said you picked up these cameras and you would go on like the boys trip and record and stuff, was that during football or what was that?
Yeah, it was, man, I think I bought my first GoPro probably sophomore year of college. And the first time I used it was a trip that me and my now wife took. We went to Mexico for like spring break or something. And I brought it with and made a little video and it was super fun and I enjoyed it. I edited it in GoPro Splice. Do you remember that?
I've never played around in that.
That was their edit platform back in the day, but that was the first like video I really ever edited. And then I would just bring it along to all these buddy trips. It was the GoPro Session, so like there's no viewfinder.
Oh, yeah.
So you could not see what you were
Oh, right,
recording.
right, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just kind of capturing the moment.
Because my question was, I remember like playing sports growing up, and I always have been like into social media. Like I always would be like, I need a cool picture of me in warm-ups and stuff. And I would be like, dude, you're so lame. Like who cares about that? You know? Did you get any like stigma from the football guys in college of like being a creative? Like was that kind of frowned upon at all? Or
I really didn't, but in my own head, I think I thought I would.
yeah,
So that's what held me back. I
Right.
would think like, oh, people aren't going to think this is cool, so I'm not going to be creative, right?
yeah,
Like even times in high school, like when the iPhone 4 came out, that was my first iPhone. And like, I remember the camera being so crazy. So I would like take pictures of everything. And I didn't share any of it because I didn't think it was cool to share.
Yeah.
But that was like, yeah, so that stigma in my head was real, but no one ever said that to me. It was just
Yeah.
in my head.
yeah. I think that's like a lot of creatives too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of creatives will be like, make something really, really cool and be afraid to put it out. And then like I'll be talking to them. They'll be like, yeah, like I haven't released this yet. I just don't really like it. And they'll show me and I'll be like, dude, that was insane.
Yeah.
Like,
It's kind of weird because I was in wrestling. Chase knows, but I was in wrestling in high school and college. But when I would start creating and stuff, the reason why I didn't share is because like a lot of my wrestling buddies weren't creative at all. So like I feel like me sharing that with them, they wouldn't understand like
Sure.
exactly like why I'm so passionate about this outside of wrestling. So like part of me I was kind of holding back as well, posting or like just doing things. And then like as I kind of grew out of it though, like all of us have like we kind of move on from that chapter and like all right, like I'm like all in on this, you know.
Yeah, I definitely feel that too. Now it's to a point where it's like I try to pride myself on not caring what other people think, but I still struggle with that like every single day.
yeah.
And so like being able to just some days just post something that you're super confident in, but you don't know if people will like grasp onto it. Like that's a big step and like helps with that confidence too. So yeah, it's super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, you also have to be mindful about like what you post. Like we've talked about it probably like 2-3 times in this podcast already, but like there's a slippery slope, right? Where if you post too much real estate content, all of a sudden only people that are ringing your line are real estate. If you post too much wedding content, the only people are like calling your line are wedding people. So how do you balance that?
That's a great question. I think for me, it goes back to like what's creatively inspiring to me. I don't necessarily, I guess, like plan out my posts to a sense where I want to keep it balanced. It's like if I find myself posting too much real estate content, that means like at the time that's all I've been shooting. So then it's like, okay, I need to balance that out with something. So like, let's do a golf trip and let's just go take a bunch of photos and or let's try to find, a spec ad to shoot for a product commercial, right? Like that's stuff that's creatively inspiring to me, and it'll also help balance that out.
That's the best answer. Like that's a great answer.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think if I got too hung up on like myself scheduling out and making sure it's balanced, like that would burn me out as much as like overproducing in a certain area. So it's just like that gauge in my head of like what's creatively inspiring to me, and then just riding that wave.
Do you find yourself like when you're posting on social media, do you like, all right, I'm gonna post this and forget about it, or do you like go back and you're like looking like constantly, or is it between the both? Like you're like kind of battling with that too.
A little bit of both, definitely.
Okay.
I think it's if I post like, I think with like if I post something like from the NFL, I want to see how that's
I was
gonna
saying
do.
that. I was like, no way you post a video of
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson making a crazy catch and
Right.
not checking up on that thing every
Like
time.
that stuff I'll for sure check. But like if I go play golf with buddies and I just want to share something that I thought was interesting, like I won't check that.
Yeah.
But
like,
that's
for
almost
you.
as like fun for me to post sometimes, just because
Exactly.
it was
Good
I don't know,
time. You
just
wanna
as
share it,
rewarding. Yeah.
for sure.
But I try not to check, but
Yeah.
sometimes you
Yeah.
have to.
It's good balance.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's cool. And yeah, it's weird to not get too like wrapped up in that rabbit hole of social media. Like I personally, like being 100% honest, I find myself checking stuff like a lot. Like I'm at my cabin, and I think part of it's because like I was telling you earlier, like we schedule out all these posts now. So like we're scheduled way out in advance. So I don't even really know what's getting posted or like coming up, and then like I'll see it get posted and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'll like check the YouTube, check the TikTok, check the Instagram, and it will never ever make sense. Like sometimes the Instagram one will get a ton of views, Facebook will just get 0, whatever, like, and then like the other day is like TikTok will, you cannot tell what does well on what platform. At least I can't.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you catch yourself trying to figure out the algorithm, son?
a little bit. I think it's pretty obvious though. Like if you have we did this clip with on our second episode of like Tyler Bishop, and he was talking like about flying cars, and like it wasn't like a polarizing topic, but like the way he described the flying car sounded like a helicopter. So like it just got a ton of comments like, that's just a helicopter, you idiot, like all this like hate, and like it wasn't even that polarizing of a topic, but that got a bunch of clicks. Or we did a clip about Kevin Garnett when we shot Kevin Garnett's house, and like that got a bunch of clicks just because it had Kevin Garnett's name in it. So like a lot of it's like just like you kind of know what's gonna do well. It's like either polarization or like famous names.
Yeah. And it's funny that you bring that up. Like sometimes the hate in the comments, like it for some reason just catches on to the algorithm. There's one of my good friends who I partner with on some work, Tyler Webb. He's on he grew
Wait,
his-
he was on the run with us with Mark.
Yeah, no, not that Tyler.
Okay.
But he's grown his TikTok to like, I think it's over 70,000 followers now, and he just does these talking head videos about sports. And in one of them, he said the Super Bowl instead of the World Series, but he said it on purpose.
Oh.
So then people in the comments were like, "Oh, Super Bowl? Don't you mean the World Series?" And he would respond and be like, "Gotcha."
Yeah.
And it's like he was just doing that so people would comment, which would skyrocket that video. Like,
Yeah.
that's a genius way to play the algorithm, I guess. But
Another thing is like, and I told Caitlin this right away too, is like when there's a misspelled word on a clip or something,
Yeah.
people go crazy like you used the wrong there or something,
Yeah,
and like
that's a big
and
one.
like it's just like they'll correct you like, and then 6 comments later it's like the algorithm's just pushing you because it's getting
That is
engagement.
true. I feel like nowadays social media is all about attention span, like attention. They just try to sell attention. Like the more you're spending time watching that video, the more people are gonna view it, the more people are gonna engage with it. I feel like, I don't know if you've like noticed any like iPad kids or anything, or like kids who are on social media and on like TikTok and stuff. They'll watch a reel like 100 times and they're like just stuck right there, and it's like it's just crazy how
That's
long
actually
they spend
funny.
on one little like six to 10 second video. It's like crazy. And then like the more you watch it, the more I'll recommend you videos that are similar to that. So I don't know if like the podcast too, like it might have been another video that got them to watch our video. You know, I'm wondering like what other video that they were watching, and then they scrolled and it was like maybe another podcast clip or something that was talking about some stuff.
Yeah. No, that's crazy, man. The social world's inevitably like hard. It's always changing. You're never gonna know. TikTok might be gone tomorrow. Literally, you have no idea. But I want to shift gears a little bit into your time now with the NFL, because you've done officially one season.
Yep.
With the NFL. Tell me how that all came to be.
Much like a lot of my gigs, it's Instagram.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy to me to say, because I'll talk to a lot of people about like how social media is like a hindrance to society and whatnot. I'll be like, it's gotten me some of my most favorite jobs in the world.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was someone sent me the job posting for the NFL LCC position, which stands for live content correspondent. And the position, one of them opened up in Minnesota. And I shot someone a DM through Instagram. He sent me to someone else. And next day I had an interview and got the job. It was literally just
like less than 24 hours?
Yeah, just sending someone a DM and then having something to your name to show that like, yeah, I can maybe shoot football. And then that was kind of that.
And you were shooting a lot of golf before then.
Yep. So the golf was kind of the first time where I really said I need to do something else creatively. And I knew I wanted to do something in sports. And I figured golf at the time was kind of the best avenue to get into, because I could go golfing and bring my camera.
Yeah.
And so I would document all these golf rounds. I think the first year I started taking photos on the golf course, I think I brought it on every single golf round that year. It's like 20 something rounds. And then just like the NFL job, I applied to something on Instagram for a video shoot with Random Golf Club at Erin Hills, Wisconsin. And they said yes, I went on that. And then they've kind of asked me to come back ever since for random stuff. I got to travel with them to Europe, go see the old course, Muirfield, all that amazing stuff over there, home of golf. And
yeah, dude, that was crazy. I remember seeing all those photos, and you're in like Scotland or something.
Yeah, it was a long trip, 26 days, but it was like something I'll never forget. And like that experience, I learned so much, just grew as a person. Like, but yeah, that was kind of the first, my entrance into sports, I guess. And then
how many days were you there?
I think it was 26 in total.
26 days, dang.
Yeah. I missed my wife.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. Trust me, we're going to get to that. But okay, cool. So then, like, obviously the golf happened a little bit more organically, but this NFL thing, like, kind of slapped you right in the face. So then you're working for the NFL or you're working for the Vikings?
So technically employed by the NFL.
Okay.
But I only work Vikings home games, and any freelance opportunity that comes about like through the NFL would kind of really only be for the Vikings, if that makes sense. So like all the off-season stuff that they do, events, any like player fundraising stuff, they'll ask LCCs to go shoot that if they can make it.
Yeah.
And so there's opportunity there as well. But yeah, it's employed through the NFL, only work Vikings home games. So I get to keep all my other freelance stuff that I have on the side. I get to keep all those clients, like, and really it's
Sundays, every other Sunday, basically.
Right.
And it's 8 hours on a Sunday, and then like 4 hours the next day to, dump all the footage, label everything.
But that's crazy. So as a live content creator, like you capture a catch, right? And we've talked a little bit about this process, and maybe you could just run us through the process a little bit, but it seems weird. So like, it almost seems like the NFL wants to make sure that the Vikings are posting like 20 times a game or something. Like if you're hired by the NFL and not the Vikings, like.
Right. So the big thing for us is like, we are the people that get the content turned around the fastest, or at least we try to. Mm-hmm. And so you're right. Big play happens, interception, touchdown, whatever it is. We are taking our SD card out of the camera, throwing it into our phone, trying to upload it through Slack as quick as possible, sending it to the teams, and then that way they can post that clip on social. And I found out last year, the main reason for that is, well, I guess one, to get just a different perspective. It's a unique, something different than a broadcast camera. where
Yeah.
we see all these highlights, right? Like it's like we did a lot of iPhone stuff last year, just mounted to the camera, and like that's something that if we were all standing there, we could capture that clip, and that's what people really like to see is just that unique angle.
Right.
But also they have a limit on how many broadcast clips they can share a game, so that's one of the main reasons as well. But really anything on game day that's interesting, like we're capturing it and sending it as quick as possible. And that's that's our main job.
It's also cool too because you capture a lot of the other team. Like my favorite clip you got of all last year is that Kyler Murray clip.
Yeah.
He's like walking, sun's beaming down on him.
I love
was
that.
like, dude, that was so crazy.
That's another good point though, because we are anytime a team is in town, we shoot for them as well. So anytime they have a big play, like anytime they have requests for players' social media, like we're required to shoot for them as well. So we can't be partial.
Yeah, that's
As
cool.
hard as that is, like I'm a diehard Vikes fan, like can't be partial.
Yeah, that's crazy. Dang, so that process is just crazy. Like it's interesting how like fast things need to move.
Turnaround's quick.
And then are you shooting in 4K or how does that work?
Yeah, so they want us in everything 1080p, 60 frames, 60 or 30 frames. But little hack, I found a way to you can record 4K and then just send the proxy as an HD file. So like everything that I have in my hard drive is all the 4K clips. But then when I send it to the NFL, like it's the 1080p
Proxy file.
That still is super high quality, but it sends so much faster.
Yeah.
So like it's that was a game changer because I shot one game in HD and then was able to like figure that little hack out, and then I have all the 4K clips from the season, which is fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I remember Isaac told me, he said he found that out like last game.
I know.
Or something like you told
I didn't
him
even
last
try to
game.
gatekeep that. I just think I was like, I don't know. It just we got so caught up, and I told him like I think it was like second to last game or something. I did feel bad about that. I'm sorry, Isaac.
He'll be on soon. But that's crazy. So I mean, and it's also interesting too because you get to post all the content. I think that's like the biggest and coolest thing about it is like you get to brand yourself as the NFL photographer, which definitely gets you NFL photo and video, which gets you definitely more like opportunities. Have you had people reach out just on that alone?
100%. There's been a lot of outreach. A lot of it has been like younger people who just want to like know about the job, like if they would be able to do it, which is awesome. I love helping people like that. But to your point, it is incredible that they let us share everything. The only rule is we have to wait a week after the game.
Okay.
So the teams and the NFL can have, first dibs on the content. But anytime like say the Vikings post one of our clips on game day, we can like repost their stuff on like stories and whatnot. Just like, it's just all portfolio stuff, which is incredible. And yeah, there have been like people that have reached out just through that, just to, not necessarily book more football stuff, but just in general to reach out and be like, what else do you do video wise and stuff like that. So it's been incredible just to have that.
Yeah. Massive portfolio piece. Definitely. Yeah. Super, super cool, man. And then, yeah, I guess I also wanted to dive into a little bit because obviously Sundays you're doing an 8-hour at the game. You had mentioned 26 days in Europe, stuff like that. You have a wife, and I believe a kid on the way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, congrats! That's
Yeah,
awesome.
congrats, man. Congrats.
Super fired up.
Yeah.
How do you balance it all?
It's been tricky as of late because we just moved places as well. So it's been, juggling that. And then, right now I'm trying to figure out what it's going to be like once end of September rolls around and that kid comes, and it's like, I'm looking for help, whether it's I subcontract some of my work out, and I think it's been a very good process for me. But when that time comes, like Brack and the baby, they're going to be first priority, like no matter what. So it's like if stuff has to get put on pause for a while, like I'm fine with that. It'll be interesting to see like where I can get help, what that's going to look like, if I have to make any changes. But
September's start of the Viking season too.
Right at that time.
That'll be wild. But yeah, at least again, that's It's a couple days a week max, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
It's super exciting though. Like I've never been. That'll be like the most exciting job ever is to be a dad. So I'm so excited for that. It's gonna be amazing.
Gosh, that's insane. And you guys met in college?
We met in high school.
That's the same with my girlfriend.
High school sweethearts, yeah. So she's a year older. I followed her to St. Thomas, and then, we've been together ever since.
That's crazy, yeah. And how old are you? Because you started the family thing. You got married pretty early.
Yep, I'm 27.
Okay.
Got married at 25. So, it was. Everyone was like, we graduated college, and everyone's like, well, when are you gonna get married? I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to figure out what I'm doing for work still. And then like I just transitioned to full-time freelance, and then proposed. I think it was a year later, during COVID, like middle of COVID, proposed in our apartment because I didn't know where else. Yeah. I set up like the apartment with pictures of us from like over the.
I think you made a video of it too. I've
Yeah.
seen this. Yeah. I've seen it.
But yeah,
that's sweet.
It's been a ride.
That's super sweet, man. I think that like, I'm in the same boat, and part of me is just like, I guess if you can, if you found the right person early on and you can just, start your life earlier, do it. But, not everyone has that opportunity. Obviously, people have different things going. They're looking for the right person or whatever. But if you're confident enough in it, it's like, why not just do it and have the kids be 18 by the time you're, 40 or something
100%.
like that.
Yeah.
So
it's cool to have, and I'm sure it's cool to have, like, for me, it's my wife, Breck, like those people in your corner, like it's just extra motivation for you to like get those big jobs and like just try to support a family. Like it's just another driving factor outside of like just the inspiration and the creativity.
Yeah.
It's just a whole nother, reason to push for something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which has been awesome.
That's cool. It's like motivation
100%.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess one of my questions is like, where do you see your lane in video production? I mean, obviously you kind of mentioned earlier, like whatever gives you inspiration, but
that's a question I'm still trying to answer. Obviously 50% of my business, I would say roughly, is still within real estate. That's like where I got my start. And I still find inspiration in that lane, and I work with a lot of great clients. And so I think I don't see that disappearing for the foreseeable future. Like that's something I can continue to stay in that lane. But like I've been telling people this a lot lately. The cool part about what I do now is like the variety. Like I love the variety, and it's led me to do so many different things, like one-man productions where I'm, lighting, audio, cam mopping, like everything, to productions where I'm just cam mopping or like just on set as like a behind the scenes photographer. Like, I think it's cool that I can wear so many different hats and not have to be in that one lane because again, like it's just variety. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know where that'll bring me in the next couple of years. Like, will I find a focus that I'm in 100%? Maybe. Mm-hmm. Will that burn me out? I don't know. Yeah, but right now I'm just riding the variety train and sticking with it. Yeah.
Have you gone through strings of burnout? Speaking on the topic of burnout, because I know that Devin and I definitely have. So
I'm in one right now.
Really?
Yeah. Sure. I'm deep in a burnout. Yeah. It's tricky because, and I think part of it's just because so many things are happening in life right now that like, it's hard for me to do the outreach for that extra creativity that I want, or like go out and do the spec work, whatever it is, that like I'm not stuck, but I'm doing the same jobs that I've been doing for the past few years, which is great. Like those, again, I work with a lot of great clients, but that's stuff that'll burn you out pretty quick.
Yeah. And I think like when life, like you're moving, you have the kid on the way, you have the wife, like when life takes up a lot of time, and I think like when you're just busy outside of the creative world, you don't have a lot of room or time for those creative thoughts in your brain.
100%.
So
it's balance, really.
It is.
Like you have to sometimes like season in your life you need to like kind of chill, maybe like take a step back from doing so much producing and so much outreach, where you're like, all right, maybe this is just a season to like, reflect and like see what you really want to do too with the family on the way, and like that's okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
how do you guys like when you're in your your burnout state? What do you guys do? Because I find it, again, I just try to do something that's creatively inspiring to me if I have the time, but it's like it can be different for everyone.
Yeah, I really focus on the word balance, and that means mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. So for me, I have a lot of grounding techniques, whether that be meditating, I ride my bike, I work out, a lot of stuff outside of creative stuff. Socially, hanging out with friends, doing other things outside. I like to thrift shop, doing a lot of stuff in fashion. I sew, so like I do stuff outside of like mainly this stuff where I can invest in myself and kind of like in my free time, it makes me feel more fulfilled, or I fill my own cup that way.
Yeah.
And I don't really, I mean, I don't have like a family starting, so, or a girlfriend. So like, I don't really have, like, I can focus all that time to myself, which is good. But I feel like if you can somehow, and I like to like try a lot of new things too, that kind of keeps the excitement. For me, it's like continue to learn and continue to grow. And I also read books too. So like a lot of that stuff kind of keeps me going, keeps me grounded at the same time. So like, that's kind of for me, just maybe finding ways where you can fit in some other stuff that aren't related to this. I think will be kind of helpful.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I'm like struggling with creative burnout, it means like, at least for me, like I haven't really experienced it with a team around me, but with like when I was freelancing, I would take on a project that was too big that I didn't feel like I was being fairly compensated for, and I would be just like grinding through this project, and I would get done with the project and be like, the last thing I want to do is another project. But really, for me, it really wasn't picking up a video camera again. It was just another project like that. So what I do a lot is I'll go to like a beach with friends and like just make a video that I've never made before, right? Like rollerblading down the beach. Or a big one for me, honestly, I do it every year, is like our snowboard trip. So I'll like vlog our entire snowboard trip. And it's like, you're filming something so different on a different camera in a different environment than you ever do. And I feel like that is when I'm like, all of a sudden I'm, 8 hours into an edit again. And I'm like, I feel excited about the edit. I feel like really ramped up and wanted to do more and push the product. And not to mention, like, you're just like, all I have is this little GoPro on this ski hill. Like, how can I make this unique? And you're working with a different tool. And I think that's huge too. 'Cause like, you can only put up the same cameras and light the interview the same way and do that, X amount of times in a row before you're like, all right, I need to try something new.
Yeah. I remember too, you're in Amsterdam, you're just filming a bunch of stuff and just like put a video together, and you're like, had no expectation, and you kind of outside of the work that you already do, like just creating something just to create something, and then like having no expectation, and you just fully for yourself. And I think that's something that I also like to do too, just creating something for myself, and kind of, gets me out of that creative rut too, or just like burnout, just doing something that has nothing to do with what you mainly like do.
Yeah.
So.
And Amsterdam, like, that's a great example. I honestly kind of forgot about that. But I remember just like running around with this camera, and I remember it being like such an hindrance to everything we did, because I would like always have this backpack on me, and like we'd go into this thing and I'd have to like find a locker to like put it in. I'd always be like scared that my camera was going to get stolen. But like there was no chance I was leaving that hotel room without a backpack in my camera, or a camera in my backpack. And dude, I don't know. It's just like, that felt so good, like to just be in a different environment and shooting, and like knowing like you're surrounded a bunch of tourists and people that are native. So you're just like, I don't care what I do. I could like film a vlog right now and not even like get self-conscious about stuff like that. But that's the next thing I want to do. Next time I struggle with burnout, I want to like make a vlog. I've never made a proper vlog for myself, and like I have no idea what it would
you'd be
turn
great
out
at a
like.
vlog.
You think so?
Oh yeah, I think you got the personality for it.
I get like wrapped up, and I always forget, like I'll forget to vlog.
Sure.
Like I'll try to do like, when we go on trips and stuff, do like a vlog on my iPhone, or like keep the story going. And then I'll look and I'll be like, how the heck do I not have any stories up right now? Like I feel like I've just been trying so hard to get these stories up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny. I've done that where I've like, I don't think I'd be good at the vlog where I'm like putting the camera on my face and talking, but I've tried to do the just record a bunch of clips of your day, and I get probably, 2 hours into the day and I forget. And then I get to the end of the day, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, it's not that hard just to whip the phone out for 2 seconds and record a clip.
Yeah.
And like some of the people who do that on like, especially TikTok nowadays, I know one guy, Andy Turner, he does these daily vlogs on TikTok, and he's in the sports kind of cinematography space, and they perform great. Like, people love to see just what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to, not all the time, you don't have to talk to the camera. Like it's
you get all these clips,
Exactly.
and you do a voiceover at the end of the day, and it
Yep.
seems so easy. And I tried to do it. I did like two in 2 days on my TikTok, and I was like, dude, I can't. It's just so hard. It's so hard.
And honestly, that's some of my favorite content to consume, is just how people operate through their daily lives. I don't know what it is, but like just some of that stuff's like super cool to me. It's not even all the time not that inspiring. It's just fun to watch. I don't know why.
For sure.
That stuff definitely goes a long way. Honestly, I think, so my friend is trying to become a vlogger right now, and shout out Blake. He's like, I truly think he can do it. He's like always got the camera out. He always knows. But what he's been doing, because his whole thing is like, I'm scared to like film myself in certain situations. Like sometimes I feel weird just filming random people. But he, one day he's like, I'm just gonna go to the gym and film myself in the gym. He's like, it's gonna be the hardest workout of my life. And he did it. And he called me, and he just like was so amped up after. He's like, dude, I just did it. I didn't even care. I just set my camera up. And like, it's so funny because he's not like this big jacked guy, he's just like going to the gym and he's filming himself. And another thing he's been doing is actually rewatching like Logan Paul's vlogs. I don't know if you ever watched Logan Paul's vlogs, but he's been rewatching them, and he'll send me clips of like this guy literally not caring about anything. Like he'll be like up on a mountain and just be like screaming at the top of his lungs, and everyone around him will be like all like, what the heck is that wrong with that guy? But it's just like, you just gotta not care.
Yeah, I feel like once you break down that barrier, like there's no stopping
Yeah.
you. You just have to get
Exactly.
over that hump, though.
Yeah.
And I think, even if I did it, I would probably be able to get over that hump, but it's just like that. I don't know, that mountain's pretty high.
Yeah, it's pretty high, and it's a tough space. You can make 100 of them, and not. I think the easier route in would be like doing those TikTok style videos, or like making like bite-sized vlogs. We had our friend Tyler on, and he was telling us like he was like a cinematographer for Charlie Rocket, and they would make these like bite-sized vlogs that were like 10-minute stories, and they would post them on TikTok, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, all the way up to part 10. So if you caught anyone just through the algorithm at like part 8 or part 7, they would go back and rewatch all of them.
That's genius.
And he said they made like, it's so genius, but it's so simple. Like the
Yeah.
part 1, 2, 3 thing like works so well on those
It really
platforms.
does. Because then you get the profile clicks into and they're looking for all the other parts.
And then they
it's-
like follow because like for
They
part
want-
2
yeah.
or like and they're like, wait, I'm waiting for that part. I got to make sure I don't miss it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's super interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy. On YouTube, like I got on this side of YouTube, like with the vlogs. Like there are people who do like a lot of crazy vlogs, a lot of cool vlogs, but there are a lot of people who do like really really chill vlogs. They'll do like throughout my day, or like me going through like university, like my classes, or they have they do like a little cooking stuff, and it's just music with text on screen, and like that's it, and they get like millions of views. Like people like to just eat they like, a lot of people like to watch people and eat food, and like they have dinner and they just watch a vlog, and then like super chill vibes, like jazzy music or like very chill music, and just somebody just petting their dog, or doing other stuff, cleaning their kitchen. It's like kind of weird, but kind of therapeutic in a way to like watch other people like just live their life in a sense.
It's funny because I've saved, I think, probably close to 10 of those style of vlogs. And I've saved them, and I've told myself, like, once the baby comes, like, I want to be able to document my daily life. And like, that's how I can see myself doing it.
Right.
And like, yeah, I've seen a bunch of those and I love them.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know why. Like, it's mundane, like daily life stuff, but it's
So simple.
It's
but
simple
it's
and interesting.
nice,
And
yeah.
I don't know. It's cool to just see how people live.
And it's like, we're so unique in the sense we have these cameras, like you, right? You have a kid on the way, you have this camera, like, you know how cherished that would be to like look back at someday with your kid?
Right.
Like, dude, almost brings a tear to my eye. Like, dude, that is insane to be able to like, you could document that whole thing in like, live and breathe it again.
Yeah.
gosh, someone did that for their kid. They did like they filmed like the first 10 years of their kids' lives, and they were like made this super long, like, I want to say it was like a 3-hour, 4-hour video, but like then they're gonna show it to their kid when their kid turns like 10.
That's
Or I
incredible.
thought I saw like some type of transformation where they took a photo of their kid every day until they're 18. And then it's just them just growing up. It's like just
Right.
kept transforming
Oh my
every
gosh.
year. Like them just like getting bigger, and they're like them coming of age and stuff. Like it was kind of a cool
Right.
video.
Yeah, I mean, my dad, when we were younger, he had the camcorder everywhere.
Yeah.
And, like, we got to look back at all that stuff, and like some memories that we would have never had, like we're able to look back and watch and like laugh about because he had the camcorder out. And it's just like, I want to be able to provide that for
sure.
my kids too.
There's like a lost stage because like the camcorders were crazy, dude, and like it was so raw. And I remember we'd sit down and watch like the dumbest footage of us walking on the theme park, but it meant like so much to us. And like I feel like there's like a lost era because then those kind of went out, and then the phones came in. But like I don't know if the quality wasn't good or if people didn't like film as much or is more photo focused. But like I feel like in my age, like it was like 1 through 8 there was a camcorder around, and then like from there on out it's just like end.
Well,
Like,
Yeah.
when
just
social
nothing.
media came out and like, having cameras on phones, like you could just send each other stuff or share
Right.
stuff instead of like the lost art of just having like physical photo albums and stuff. Like my family has a bunch of that stuff, but like now with the iPhones out, you just have it on your phone. It's all digital now. So but I know there's a lot of people who are getting back into it, like just
Yeah.
like developing film and stuff. But
I think it's great.
I feel like it's kind of a lost art where the documentation and like going through a photo album and like seeing all the memories that way, it brings a different type of nostalgia than looking at it digitally,
It definitely does because it's like it's in your phone, and like if you grab someone's phone and start going through photos, like no one likes that.
Yeah.
And like something about the book and it just being like sitting in the living room and you can pull it out and flip through it, and like just all these things that are in there are just like super freaking crazy. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
one
just-
of the, like I go to my grandma's and she has photo albums out. Like it's a new one every time we're over. So we're looking through, and then one of the coolest things is you pull out a photo and look at the back, and she had like written notes from the day.
Oh no.
That's
way.
one of the coolest things. You don't really
Right.
get that with like an iPhone. You can't.
No,
I mean,
you
you just
don't.
have the picture, but
Well, and
that's-
it's like
that's
you
cool.
have the Instagram, which is this public database, effectively like this like photo book of the day, but you're only posting all the best, most like Photoshop fakest stuff. You know, it's like it's not just like the shot of like someone with food on their face and they're like smiling with a hot dog or something. Like you don't get that. And I think I actually think Instagram is starting to get less like perfect, and people I think are just starting to just post like life lately, and it's just like a bunch of like random stuff, and it really depends on who you follow or whatever. But
that's what private stories are for.
yeah.
private stories,
Yeah.
but they're still gone in 24 hours. I don't know. It's like it's kind of crazy. I just like that's something that I think I want to like carry on.
Yeah.
Like I think I want to just have like I want to just develop more and print more.
And you can develop your digital photos. Like it's not. I think it's like 10 cents a photo to go do that. It will get expensive because I have like 2,000 photos. On
my
phone.
mom
But,
bought like a printer, and she just prints it right off her phone. She can just send it right to the
Really?
printer and stuff. And then she always gives me like when I go there for Thanksgiving or something, she'll give me like 20 photos, just like free. Look, and I was just like, what do you want me to do with these? But now I'm realizing like I just need to get the photo book.
Yeah.
I just need to just
filling it
start
up.
sticking them in there.
Yeah. Get one every year and then just start developing stuff and just fill it up.
Yeah.
That's a great idea,
Yeah.
actually.
Dang. That's awesome, dude. Dang. I feel like you can use these cameras in such good ways, right? Like, and I think that you just have to be like mindful and plan it, because like for you with the kid, you want to do some stuff, but like, I feel like if you didn't plan it properly or weren't intentional about it, all of a sudden 3 months could go by and you'd be like, oh my gosh, I haven't even done anything.
Yeah. I think it goes back to, and Gary Vee says it all the time, it's like documenting versus trying to always have to create something. And like, if I can get to just documenting daily life instead of like trying to make something the best it can be every single day, like that'll be a good spot.
Yeah.
For sure. And it'd be cool to have like this library of vlogs or videos that you can look back on and stuff. Like you said, like the VHS cameras and stuff, whatever. Like, it's kind of cool to see like just someone holding the camera and it's just like doing stuff, like simple, but yeah.
Simple and nostalgic. I guess, yeah, I think we're kind of coming to the end here. One other question I had, just because I watched a good movie last night. What do you like? What's a movie that inspires you cinematically? Maybe not cinematically, just what's like a good movie recommendation? I don't know if you're even a movie buff, but
I am. I'm gonna throw out a Star Wars movie because I'm a
Alright.
Star Wars nerd.
Yeah.
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
I think the
Rogue One.
cinematography in Rogue One is incredible. It's my favorite Star Wars movie. Gareth Edwards directed it, and he I know with a lot of his films he takes over as cinematographer a lot, which is cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he did that a bunch with Rogue One, but
So he'd be like, just give me that camera, I'm gonna grab
He
the
would be
shot.
like, yeah, you know what? Oh, let me give it a shot, and then just grab it. But
Do you remember the first Star Wars? I did not know Qui-Gon Jinn was Liam Neeson until
really?
Taken. I was like, somebody told me that Qui-Gon Jinn was Liam Neeson. I was like, wait, is he? And he had long hair. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it is. So
Yeah.
I like the first one though with Darth Maul and stuff.
that was the first one I saw in theaters when I was 3 years old, and
Yeah.
I remember it. I sat
Really?
front row and looked up. Yeah,
Dude, that's
with my
crazy.
dad.
That might be one of your earlier memories.
It sure
in
is.
life.
Because it was 99, and I was born in 96.
Like Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan fighting Darth Maul was one of my
Oh my
favorite fights.
Dude, I wanted to be a Jedi so bad when I was younger.
Sure.
That was it. That's what I was going to be.
Yeah. Dev,
Was that me?
movie?
I don't know. All I could really say, this past, I think it was a couple years or something, Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's probably the one that I can really think of. I won 6 Oscars and done beautifully with not that big of a budget, and the story, the way that there's a lot of nuances in it, but it's one of my favorite ones. I don't know if you've watched it before.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Okay.
Great movie.
Yeah, I think movie of the decade, and I keep telling people that. So,
Dude, oh my god.
and he hasn't watched it yet.
You're gonna
so-
hate me.
haven't?
No, you're gonna hate me. So I came home last night and I was like, Sap, we're watching a movie tonight. We're finally all home. I was like, we're gonna watch Everything Everywhere All at Once. Look it up, and it's free on YouTube. Look with YouTube Premium. So I look it up. It's $20 or $30, and it's $20 everywhere. And I'm like, dang, I'm so cheap too. I'm just like, do I want to spend $20 and buy this movie? What if I don't like it? What if we end up turning it up? And I'm like, I know we're gonna like it. So I was like, Sav, let's watch the trailer.
$30, man.
And sci-fi stuff, I sci-fi stuff for personally, and I'm just such a not movie guy. So we didn't end up watching it. I think I got to sit down with my friend Blake and watch
Yeah,
it.
it's not really sci-fi either. It has action, has comedy, has a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
deep stuff too, and it's takes you on this roller coaster. I don't know.
It's
That's
crazy.
the best thing. I could
Yeah.
explain it.
I know I'm gonna like it. I
Yeah.
just ended up last night watching a movie, Captain Phillips, which is about that captain who gets abducted by these Somali pirates, and it was actually in that movie. I thought cinematically was pretty good. I thought and they shot a lot at low light, and they had to shoot in I was watching, and they had to shoot on this lifeboat, and it's super tight in there, and they're shooting on super wide lenses, and I was just that had to have been really tough to shoot.
That's another great movie.
Yeah.
Quick fun fact about that one. At the end, when Tom Hanks is getting rescued,
Yeah.
and there's that nurse
Yeah.
who's helping him, she was briefed as pretend this is a real rescue. And she was an actual nurse or EMT or whoever it was.
Yeah.
And she got done and said Tom Hanks, that performance he gave right there was one of the most incredible things. I think it was
Dude,
1 or
because-
2 takes.
That's
Because
crazy.
he's he can't even talk, and
No.
and they're dude, that scene is insane. Actually,
Crazy.
That scene is insane.
That's a good movie too, though.
At the end, yeah. Well, yeah, I think that basically wraps it up. Thank you for coming on, Jordan.
Yeah, thanks for
Thanks
having
for
Happy
having
we
me,
were able
guys.
to
Appreciate
just
it.
kind of chat. I think this was a good episode.
Yeah, sure.
Very happy with it. So, thank you guys for watching. Definitely comment,
Yeah.
subscribe. Let us know if you have any guests.
Let people know where to follow you.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Instagram at Jordan Lundell. What's my TikTok? Jordy Lundy, I think.
That sounds right.
We'll put a text on it.
Yeah, there you go.
So
And
got
then
you.
my business Instagram is at Motive Media with 2 underscores. Couldn't snag Motive Media regular.
Damn.
Tough.
Whatever.
Great name.
But
Though.
yeah.
Great name.
Thanks.
Yeah. But yeah, Stay tuned, guys. We got more podcasts coming.
Peace.
Peace.